Wendy, a pleasure to speak with you because I'm not sure if we've ever done an interview in any form, period, with all the work that you've done over the years. I think this is the first, and we've known each other for a very long time, even though I knew you when you were very young. Let me make that clear.
Rudy, I have to acknowledge you for this opportunity to have a conversation with you. You've been so amazing to me as a PR practitioner and always saying yes when I pitch you. And that has been going on for, you're right, for many, many years. But you have been in these streets as a storyteller for us and for like our nation. So kudos to you. You've done this reinvention thing, and Rudy Blair, thank you. Thank you.
No,
Thank you.
no, thank
Yeah.
you. And speaking of stories, the exhibit that is behind me right now truly is a story of what Canada has been about for a very, very long time. And it's something that we get to see through these photos and exhibits and pictures and things like that. Please explain, because it really is what helped in a lot of ways build this nation.
Absolutely. Migrants are the backbone of Canada. They are the backbone of many, many countries in our hemispheres, period, right? So Migrant Stories consists of 6 video diary installations about 6 amazing Canadians and their journeys to how they became Canadian. It's amazing. And you know that the stories and the narratives are so diverse, but they're so important, and it's so important that they be told and shared. So kudos to the City of Toronto and the Toronto History Museum system and their partnership with Frankfurt for this opportunity, for this conversation.
Who came up with this idea?
Um, it was a partnership between the City of Toronto History
Mhm.
Museums and Frankfurt. So there's a partnership between these two sister cities as they tell their respective and common stories about migrants and the impacts of migrants on their respective cities and nations and globally. Yeah.
Who are some of these people that, if you want to give me one or maybe two, that we focus on in this journey?
Well, I will happily share the installation that I have brought to the exhibition, which is the story of Lloyd Lindo, who I call my Uncle Lloyd. He is a multi-generational, intersectional family friend. He turns 97 this month, and his journey from Kingston, Jamaica to Trelawney to England to Canada is one for the ages. And the only thing better than Uncle Lloyd having had this amazing life journey is that he remembers everything. His recall is intact and amazing and gorgeous. And matching his memory and his recall and his storytelling, his ephemera, his objects, his artifacts, amazing. His wedding album, his, manifesto from taking the ship, the HMS Franconia, from England to Canada, like his suitcase that he brought with him from Jamaica to England to Canada. Amazing, amazing. Him entrusting me to share his story, it's one of the biggest honors of my life.
How did he feel about this when you approached him to do this?
He was blissfully on board and so humble and generous and gorgeous about it. I started speaking to Uncle Lloyd really intentionally about 2.5 years ago. My dad passed away, and Uncle Lloyd is a friend who shares journey from Jamaica to England to Canada with my dad, shared that with my dad. He experienced kinship adoption as a child, similar to my dad. And I was speaking to Nick Davis at CBC Radio. I was like, oh, this uncle, he's got all these stories, and he's like, your uncle remembers everything. He says, keep talking to him and record everything. And I was like, yes, I will do this.
You know,
And
and sorry to interrupt, but I was going to say, do people who are going to come to this, and I want to make this clear, are they going to understand how significant this
Mhm.
is to Canadian history? And the reason why I say that
Yeah.
is because everything you described, other than the country itself, Jamaica,
Yeah.
my parents' friends from Guyana did the exact same thing. The only little detour for my dad as working was working in Egypt,
Amazing, Rudy.
going to England,
Amazing.
going to Canada. And then you use that word that people don't understand, because when they think of these travels, they're thinking, oh, airplane. No, you said ship.
Yeah.
Ship that they had to be on for days, or if I'm correct, even weeks to
Yes, sir.
travel
Yeah.
from the Caribbean islands and countries to England,
Mhm.
live there in not the greatest accommodations,
Yeah.
and then move from there to Canada in the same manner, those ships. I really
Yeah.
want you, and I'm using my hands because I want that
I know. I know.
expressed, to
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
what these individuals, these heroes of ours, did to give us a if I can say a better life, different life,
Yeah.
whatever how you want to put it,
Yeah.
in this country.
Yeah, Rudy, I'm so aligned with what you're saying right now. And as I speak that, I think about, when you say heroes, it's so true. I spoke to Sharon McMillan, who's head of the St. Lawrence Neighborhood Association, and I'm going to be speaking there about this project later this month. And Sharon said, is Windrush Generation as well. And she said, our parents' generation, those are our heroes. And when you think about people like Sir Arthur Torrington, who had co-founded the Windrush Foundation in the UK, who's a Guyanese British citizen, and you know the the journeys, the
Yeah.
journeys that these people have experienced, and the injustices of things like the Windrush scandal, which is still unaddressed. You know, I really resonated with um, a gentleman. Well, it was Arthur Torrington, and the approach is, well, we're actually not even migrants. We're not immigrants. These people were moving around the colonies with British passports. And you're right. When they landed in England after these journeys, they were met with things like signage on doors for housing that said, no blacks, no dogs, no Irish.
Yes.
So that by the time people like Uncle Lloyd and my dad arrived, my auntie, my dad's older sister, had housing to welcome my dad. So people were forming these very, very intentional and for the sake of survival, very, very sophisticated ecosystems to help people with softer landings. Because the first ship landed in the 1940s, at Tilbury Docks. And between the official Windrush generation is from 1948 until about 1971, 72. 500,000 people made that journey, right? Then there's their children, the backbone of post-war Britain, coming in droves, in droves. And this is what they had to contend with.
It is, to me, one of the most amazing stories that I heard from my parents, from their friends who I consider, my family, uncles and aunts. And, I remember just a couple of years ago, uh, at a barbecue, and I
Yeah.
was sitting with the true kings, and they were all gathered around, and I had the chance to ask all those questions,
Mm.
and they gave me the full stories about who helped bring who over and how they traveled. And I was just amazed, and in
Yeah.
a small way, a little embarrassed in myself, because here I am complaining about certain things, And I had no right to complain about anything considered what they did as young men. And in a lot of ways, they were children
Yeah.
having
Yeah.
to be young men and women and make these incredible journeys to help us to have a better life.
Amen. Amen. It is a huge, gargantuan life task. And I'm in their debt. We are in their debt.
Yes.
Absolutely. We're standing on their shoulders. A
What do you hope
thousand
it
percent.
and what do you hope people are going to get from this exhibit? I mean, definitely when, just having this conversation with you,
Mm.
it chokes me up. What do you hope that folks will get from this exhibit?
I hope that people understand the impact of lives lived, like Uncle Lloyd's, like Lloyd Lindo's, like my dad's, like the Windrush generation, like the folk from the Caribbean who are not Windrush, but who are here in Canada, and what they toiled and what they experienced for our benefit and for the benefit of our city, of our community, and if you take a step back, for our nationhood, right?
Yeah.
Rebuilding, like Uncle Lloyd talks about building Simpson's Tower.
My dad was all those buildings that you see on Lakeshore, and I do believe even with the CN Tower, my dad helped build all that. He was a welder.
Uncle Lloyd was a welder.
And they had specific skills that were
Yeah,
taught back there that a
yeah,
lot of these guys in Canada did not know, and that's why they were hired.
exactly. Yeah, Rudy, alignment. I love this. I love this. I have a photo. It's not part of the exhibition. It's not part of the installation, but I have a picture of Uncle Lloyd's commendations from UA, the United Auto Workers, the union, for a 55-year membership as a welder. And he's got this like magic book that he got while he was in England. He helped build London Airport before it was named Heathrow Airport.
Amazing. Amazing. How long is the exhibit running till?
May 5th is the last day. Yeah. So we've got about a month. Yeah.
Fantastic. I hope folks get out there and they see this and they explore
Mhm.
this and the others to really know. See, it's funny. During this interview, one thing that kept sticking in my head when I see people screaming about, I deserve respect, give me respect, and whatever else, shut the hell up. It's these people who don't even say it
So
deserve
quiet.
absolute respect. You think about it when you're screaming at somebody about, give me respect or whatever, what that truly means, because it's these folks who deserve respect. Where do we
Amen.
go for the exhibit? Where's it going to be? And again, how long is it running till?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. So it's at the Market Gallery, which is the second floor of St. Lawrence Market. And that the hours are Wednesday to Sunday each week from 11 a.m. till 4 p.m.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Wendy, thank you
Yeah.
so much for
Oh,
this
Rudy.
exhibit. And so looking forward to talking to you for more of the work
Yeah.
that you are providing here in this country. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Rudy. You're amazing. Thank you.